Hello and welcome to week 13 in behavior management, and we're going to be discussing chapter 16, data collection. And this is probably kind of pivoting point as to where we really kind of focus on doing something different than people would normally do. I just spent some time with one of you talking about a behavior plan for one of your children. And one of the things that is really, really important is not so much that you come up with a new plan, or not so much that you have creativity in coming up with different ways to manage your children's behavior, but you're documenting this, that you're actually tracking the data. In this particular instance, you indicated that you had been doing some tracking of this behavior, but here we are kind of focusing on this we're going to get a little scientific about this. So we can do all of these methods and we can do them haphazardly and all that stuff. But what makes it a science is when we gather the data and we use the data rather than our intuition, rather than our feelings, even rather than our direct observations. We use the data to determine whether or not what we are doing is working or not. So part of this is essentially getting into the habit, the behavioral habit of actually tracking behavior when you're trying to make these kinds of changes, but also the creative element of creating tracking sheets. Now, in this world of behavior management, we are often in the position where we are tracking somebody else's behavior, but if we're doing a plan for ourselves, or when we're working with individuals who can track their own behavior, it is actually the tracking of the behavior can be a part of the behavior plan. The actual individual's participation in checking boxes or putting stickers or whatever that shows their progress is actually reinforcing. In addition to the reinforcers that you have built into any sort of behavior plan, the fact that the individual who is the focus of the behavior plan, be it you or somebody you're working with, is doing the tracking, for one, less work on your part, that's always good. Number two, it's actually reinforcing, and it's a feedback mechanism for the individual to see their progress or lack of progress. And they will be the first ones to say, hey, this isn't working, or I'm not seeing the progress that I want, or wow, I'm really accomplishing something, because they're able to actually track that. So in the assignment, I'm asking you to come up with a tracking sheet of some kind. It can be creative, just like we did the job tool. And I know some of you did excellent graphics. You got stuff in there, kind of gearing toward a person who would need those pictures to help them move through the steps of something. You can do the same thing with the tracking sheet. You can have, little circles where they fill in every time they get something done, or, there's a sticker process. You can do it in paper and then take a photo of it and submit that to me. A couple people did that for the actual job tool. That's perfectly fine. So this assignment is looking at creating tracking sheets, and it's sort of an art. I've seen some really, really clever things geared toward individual kids. When there was a specific intervention in a school and the kid, I'm just going to make this up, the kid's really into fire trucks or something like that, the little fire truck stickers for them to track their behavior when they get their reading assignment, it's just, frosting on the cake, adding that particular component so that they could actually use one of their favorite ideas to actually track their behavior. It just makes that much more fun. It gamifies it. It does all of these really, really great things. So we're going to spend some time talking about data collection. Remember, that data sheet that you're creating has to it has to define the behavior. It has to meet the dead man's test. Read about it. Read all about it in the course book. It's all there. So that's the assignment that goes along with this. But again, this is when we're getting scientific. This is how we collect data. Now, we would translate those little stickers of fire trucks into numerical data for analysis, but the tracking sheet itself can be artistic, compelling, inviting to whoever's using it. You can also submit the tracking sheet, if you're using one, hopefully you are, for your personal behavior plan. So if that's something you want to put in there, it's something you put up on the fridge to track your own behavior, those kinds of things, I'd be glad to see that as well. So hope you had a really great week from Thanksgiving. I do want to mention that I did go through all of the assessments in the class, all of the quizzes, all of the assignments. I graded everything that was not graded. So if you've been doing second attempts on quizzes, that's done. If you had some assignments that you submitted later, please go in and take a look at those, see how things are going, and just kind of buttoning up the class, getting ready for these last 3 weeks here, so we can end strong and get those final projects in and get the final grades out to you and zip off to Christmas break. So make these last 3 weeks really strong. And I'll see you in the discussion boards, see you in these assignments, and I hope you have a great week.